Your home isn't just a place to live, but a powerful financial asset that could help you build wealth for generations to come. What if the property you own today could create financial freedom for you, your children, and their children? This isn't a hypothetical question. In fact, real estate is one of the most powerful tools for creating and preserving wealth over the long term. According to various studies and reports, around 90% of the world's millionaires own real estate in some form. Real estate is a common investment choice because it provides both tangible value and the potential for long-term appreciation. Today, we're going to talk about how you can use appreciation and equity to start building generational wealth for yourself and your family, and how to leverage these assets to grow your portfolio. So let's dive in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike West, and I'm a licensed real estate agent here in Southeast Michigan. I love helping people understand the home buying, selling, and investing process, and if that's something you're into, make sure to stick around. Now, a quick heads up, what I talk about in my videos is often based as what I see here in Michigan. So if you're in a different market, some things might be a little different, but the fundamentals, they don't change. So let's dive in. All right, first things first. What exactly are appreciation and equity? What does it mean? Appreciation is a natural increase in a property's value over time. Historically, real estate has appreciated at an average rate of about 3 to 5% per year, depending on location and market conditions, of course. So let's say you buy a home today for $300,000. Over the next 15 years, it appreciates at an average of about 4% per year. That home could be worth around $540,000 by the time you're ready to sell that in 15 years. That's $240,000 in growth from just appreciation alone. And this doesn't even account for any improvements you might have made or market factors that may accelerate that appreciation. Equity, on the other hand, is a portion of the property that you actually own. It's the difference between your home's current market value and the amount you owe left on your mortgage. Every month, when you make your mortgage payment, part of that payment goes towards paying down the principal of the loan, increasing your equity. This means over time, as you pay down the loan, your equity grows, creating an excellent opportunity for wealth building. So let's take a look at how this works with a rental property investment for an example. So let's say you bought a rental property 15 years ago for $200,000. Over the years, it appreciated at an average rate of 4% per year. And that's not counting the crazy increases we've seen in COVID over the last few years here, but just an average of 4%. So after 15 years, the property's market value could be around $400,000, doubling its value. That's $200,000 in appreciation alone. But wait, there's more. As you've been paying down your mortgage over the years, you've also been building that equity through loan paid off. So let's assume you originally financed the property with a 30-year loan, and your mortgage payment covered both principal and interest. Over those 15 years, you've been steadily paying down that balance, and let's say you've paid down a total of around $50,000 of loan principal. So now on top of that $200,000 appreciation for the market value, you've gained an additional $50,000 of equity from the loan paydown. So after 15 years, you're sitting at a nice $250,000 in wealth, just from owning the property. $200,000 in appreciation, $50,000 in equity from the mortgage. This is all not even counting any profit you may have made from the cash flow of renting it during these years you've owned it, or the yearly tax benefits, which I discuss in another video of mine. So let's pause and just take a second to recognize the power of owning real estate for the long term. That $250,000 you've generated in wealth can be reinvested into another property or used for other wealth building strategies to fit what your needs are. However, if you do sell the property, you may be subject to paying capital gains, unless you're able to qualify for a 1031 tax deferred exchange, which we'll talk about here in a moment. So now let's talk about the taxes a little more in detail, because this is where things get really interesting. The tax implications of selling a property can be quite different depending on whether it's your primary residence or an investment property. If you sell your primary residence, a home that you've lived in for at least 2 years out of the past 5, you can potentially qualify for capital gains tax exemption. This means you can exclude up to $250,000 in gains from the sale of the property if you're single, or up to $500,000 if you're married and filed jointly. This is a huge advantage for homeowners looking to sell without the burdens on any appreciation that's occurred. However, if you're selling a long-term investment property, one you have not lived in, the situation is a bit different. Investment properties are subject to capital gains on any appreciation, as well as paying back the tax depreciation you may have used throughout the years of owning it on your tax returns. This is where many investors start to feel that pinch. But there is a great strategy that can help you avoid this. This is called the 1031 tax deferred exchange. So let's dive into that a little bit more. A 1031 exchange is a powerful tool that allows you to defer paying capital gains on taxes on a property that you sell if you're using it to purchase another property. Essentially, Essentially, you swap your current property for another similar property of equal or greater value, and you can defer those taxes for as long as you continue to invest in real estate and reinvest that money. This can be a game changer for investors looking to scale their portfolio, moving in from larger or more expensive properties, or shift in the different markets without losing a chunk of their profits to taxes. But here's where it gets even more interesting. You can keep doing this over and over again, essentially kicking the can down the road indefinitely, just by continually reinvesting your gains into new properties through this 1031 exchange. The longer you hold on to your investment and defer the taxes, the bigger your portfolio can grow and the more wealth you build. And then when it comes time for you to pass on, unfortunately we all will at some point, you can also pass on your real estate investments to your children or heirs. And that's where we get into what's called the step-up tax basis. So let's say you've deferred paying taxes on your properties for decades, building up massive equity along the way, building a huge portfolio, continually using this 1031 exchange method. When you pass these properties down to your heirs, they inherit the property at its current market value, not at the original purchase price. This is what's called a step-up basis. For example, if you bought a rental property years ago for $200,000, but it's worth $500,000 today, when you pass it on, your children inherit it at the $500,000 market value. So if they sell the property soon after inheriting it, they will pay minimal to no taxes on the basis because of it was stepped up to that market value rate. This creates a fantastic opportunity for their heirs to not only inherit wealth, but continue building it without the heavy burden of taxes. Now, the process of actually doing a 1031 exchange is a little more detailed than what I will cover in this video, but I just wanted to get that into your mind that that is an option for you that a lot of real estate investors use years over years. So if you'd like more information about this, contact me, we can dive more into it, or we can connect with a local intermediary that can set you up with the right tools to do the job. So outside of selling the property to help you scale, there's another powerful tool you could consider to use to leverage what you've already built in order to continue to grow your portfolio or even invest into other avenues if you should choose. This is done through the use of what's called a cash out refinance. Now, you understand what equity is and appreciation has done. What would it look like if you were able to refinance the existing mortgage loan on a property in order to pull actual cash out of it and use it for something else? That's exactly what the cash out refinance is. Many lenders will offer a variety of options for something like this, where they will allow you to pull out up to 75 to 80% of the entire property's equity wrapped in with your existing balance on the mortgage loan into a brand new loan. Using this option, there are no capital gain taxes for taking that cash out, as you haven't sold the asset, and the funds you are obtaining are actually borrowed yet again. So note, this won't change your tax burden when it does come time that you decide to sell. But if you never plan to sell, this could be a fantastic opportunity to realize and leverage your existing equity and appreciation. Of course, it's also very important to consider all of your numbers when doing this, as it will likely increase your monthly mortgage payment on the property, and you'll need to make sure that the revenue that it's generating is able to cover that. So as you can see, real estate isn't just about having a place to live, it's one of the most powerful wealth building tools available. Appreciation and equity give you financial security. The step-up basis helps transfer wealth efficiently, and leveraging your assets through strategies like 1031 exchanges allows you to scale this up in a way that you can't do with any other investment avenue. So if you've been thinking about buying a home, investing in real estate properties, or planning your family's financial future, let's talk. Real estate can be your path to long-term wealth, and I'd love to help you make it happen. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your thoughts and questions. And if you're interested in getting involved with this with me, you can reach me on my cell phone at 313-288-0553 or send me a DM. Until next time, happy investing.